Cubs lose 9 in a row. Is this the worst stretch in recent memory for the Cubs?
Yeah, Northside noise, Shot City Ben, Joey and Sam, lock it in, wind blow all the spin, cuss talk, yeah, tap in, and with a heartbeat, couple quick.
Oh, that was 2 times for the theme song. Welcome to the Shy City Den. I am Joey Glickman alongside Sam Van Cleve. We're breaking down the biggest stories, biggest games, and all things Chicago sports. If it's happening in Chicago, we're talking about it. Packed show ahead of us. We're going to recap what has been the worst stretch of baseball for the Cubs I can remember. And we're going to talk about Kyler Gordon already popping up with a soft tissue injury in OTAs. Let's start with the Cubs, Sam. Cubs drop today's game, Memorial Day, to lose for the 9th consecutive time. They get swept by Houston this weekend and go to Pittsburgh and have a lousy effort at PNC. Sam, this has been one of the worst stretches probably in our lifetime, at least offensively for the Cubs.
Joey, it's getting to the point where like I'm not even wanting to watch this team anymore because it's just putting me in a bad mood on a daily basis. But you can make the argument it doesn't help to have Boyd hurt, Cade hurt, Steele hurt. But on top of that, we're giving JMO $18 million to lead the league in home runs given up. We're giving Seiya $18 million, and he's 6 for his last 60, something like that. I don't know what it is. Happ is making $18 million.
Yeah.
Batting 210-ish. Swanson is at $175 million-ish. He's under 200. Horner's on a horrible stretch. And you can't forget about Bregman, the big dog we brought in for $175 million, $35 million a year, and he has an OPS of sub 700. So this is it's abysmal across the board.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Sam. That ruined my weekend this weekend. I went up north to Wisconsin, had a great time, but then it comes 1:20 and I'm miserable. It's been miserable to watch this team over the past really 3 weeks. I know they've lost nine consecutive games, but it's been porous for the last 3 weeks, at least offensively. And it seems like they're not even close to breaking out of it. I mean, Dansby Swanson, Lord, I mean, he looks like he couldn't compete on the Highland Park freshman baseball team. He couldn't. I mean, he looks like he's fatigued. If he's hurt, IL him. All right. If he's hurt, you got to put him on the injured list. If Nico's hurt from getting hit in the head a month ago, put him on the IL. I'm sick and tired of them waiting for things to come to them, and they're passive all the time. They're never the aggressive. You go to the team up north in Milwaukee, they're aggressive on the base paths. They get hits with runners in scoring position with 2 outs. They're better than you. And you look at the standings now, they're 3.5 up on us. And before you know it, you're going to look up at the standings on July 4th, and they're going to be 8 up on you if it goes down the path that it's been going down. So I guess we could start with Friday. Again, not really much going on offensively other than Pete's 2-run homer. He's been showing signs the past few games. Jameson Taillon, gives up 3 home runs. Not good from him. I know his stat line won't show it. He wasn't good. And then Saturday, again, 3 base hits. Colin Ray was fine. But again, you're not going to score. If you're not going to score a run, you're not going to win the baseball game. They get shut out, and you go to Sunday with a lousy performance by Shota. He gives up 7 earned runs. Cubs had the lead in that game 3-1. Thought they were going to cruise, to be honest, and that didn't prove to be the case as Houston storms back with a 3-run homer from Christian Walker to get swept by Houston. Sam, I don't really know where to go from here. What do you think? Do you think we make a change, whether that's Dustin Kelly?
I mean, the change has already been made. We're switching the lineup up, and it's getting to the point where, like, how much can you even blame Craig anymore for
You can't.
being stubborn? Like, he switched the lineup up the past couple of days, and, like, it's not like we're getting on. Like, on Sunday, we had 7 team walks and 7 hits maybe, and we only had 5 runs to show for it. So, I mean, I feel like we're letting teams off the hook, and we're wanting them to win, and we're like, it's not even like we've had opportunity after opportunity after opportunity in all these games that we've lost, and that's the frustrating part, is that we have left so much on the table. I think we're leading the league in runners left on base, so it's not about getting on base, it's about capitalizing when we're on base. And that's the problem. That's been the problem the past 2 years, and it continues to be the problem. And we've switched the lineup up. Like, we've put Pete in the leadoff, and he's been great. Pete and Bushy are about the only 2 offensive players right now that are worth talking about, in my opinion. And Pete's walk numbers have been awesome. He's working full counts, which is a great sign. And he's really showing kind of more selectiveness. It's what we wanted out of Pete, the last year, and what we wanted in him down the stretch late in last year. But nobody else in the lineup is really worth talking about right now. It's just, and we're getting to the point where it's like the bench guys are even struggling. Like, Conforto now is struggling. He brought Pedro Ramirez up, and he grounds into a double play on Sunday in the most pivotal part in the game. It's really just, it's frustrating, and it's getting to the point where it's like, if you're going to bench Happ and play Conforto, who's struggling just as much, like, why not give Alcantara a shot or something, Like, we brought him up for a reason. I don't want to see him just run the base pass. Like,
he hasn't played. He's been up for 4 days now, hasn't played. Why call him up if you're not going to play him? I don't understand it. But to go back on your point, the struggle has been runners in scoring position. The approaches have been abysmal with runners in scoring position. More specifically, really, the heart of our order, Ian and Bregman and Seiya, has been nowhere to be found.
It's the guys you're paying that are killing us the most, and it sucks because we're stuck in those contracts, because Happ and Seiya both have full no trade clauses. So, like, I'm not even going to begin the possibility of us selling, but, like, if we were to keep going down this avenue, like, that needs to be talked about at some point, and we're stuck in a lot of these contracts that are on the table. And 100%. It's just we need the guys that we're paying to start playing like it. It's 100%. That simple.
I mean, Bregman has an OPS under 7. Nico has an OPS under 7. Michael Busch has an OPS under 7. Ian Happ has hit .210 this year. Dansby Swanson's hitting $190. It's getting really hard to watch this team, obviously. But this is my first checkpoint. Kind of want to recap, the first, what would that be? Sam, quick math, 29 plus 24, that would be 53 games. The first 53 games, they're 3.5 back in Milwaukee, with 2 10-game winning streaks and 1 9-game losing streak still pending. I don't think I've ever seen a season like this, at least for the first 2 months of a season. Have you?
Oh, I mean the up and down is astonishing, Joe. I mean, 2 10-game win streaks, and now we're about to go on a 10-game losing streak. I mean, it's unlike anything I think. I don't think it's ever been done. Pre-June, that we're not even to June, and we're about to have 2 10-game win streaks and a 10-game losing streak. So I have no idea what to make of this team right now, and that's quite a bad thing. As you said, we're right at the first checkpoint. Obviously, Memorial Day weekend, you kind of get an idea of teams around the league, and this is a Cubs team where I don't know like what is going to happen moving forward. I don't know what this team is going to be in August, July.
Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. We just need like we simply need our best players to start performing, and it doesn't really look like that's going to turn around anytime soon.
And it's crazy how quickly a season can turn like that. Like like our first episode, for example, we were as high as we can get coming off a 10-game winning streak. And now we're approaching a 10-game losing streak. Let's talk about today. Cubs lose 2-1 today against Pittsburgh to start the series, the 4-game series. Ben Brown was phenomenal once again. He's been probably the biggest bright spot in this 9-game losing streak, if there is one to pick out. And Michael Busch stayed hot, I guess, with homers in consecutive games to tie the game up. And Trent Thornton gives up a home run to Henry Davis in the bottom of the 7th. Nonetheless, a hitter who's hitting a $139. It was just emphasis on offense. Had 6 hits, but nothing to show for it. Had traffic on the base paths, had nothing to show for it. Modzinski had nothing today. He had nothing. He showed absolutely nothing. Wasn't great at all. So, again, definitely symbolizes how this stretch has gone today. But Ben Brown has been a bright spot. He's been great. So,
Yeah, I mean we had bases loaded in the top of the second, I believe, and yours truly, Dansby Swanson, check swing on a ball in the other box to end the inning. So that's frustrating. It seems like all you got to do is throw Dansby a middle away off speed pitch, and he's going to go after it, and then tunnel that with a high fastball, and he's out in 3 pitches almost every at bat right now.
If Dansby comes up in a big spot, please go on with your day. Go to the bathroom. Continue your workout. If you're at the gym watching this game, you can go on. There's zero chance he's getting a big hit in a big spot. And again, like you said it earlier, dude. I mean, you're paying him $177 million. I know he's great defensively, but he's been, uncompetitive.
Yeah, it seems like every year he's been with the Cubs, it just seems like each year his bat has gotten a little worse. The bat speed's gotten a little worse. The strikeout numbers have gotten a little worse. So Dansby is just it's really hard to see it through with him, I guess, is what I should say. I mean, he's great defensively, and he ultimately won us that series in San Diego in the wild card. But at some point, I mean, we need you to hit over 200 for this team to be somewhat viable down the stretch. I mean, it feels like every time we're up in a runners in scoring position spot, it feels like we fall down 0-2 or like 0-1. We get behind in the count so quickly, and it happens like that, and then boom, we're down 0-2. It's like the guys are going up there like they're not wanting to be aggressive at their pitch. They're being passive when we have runners in scoring position. It just feels like if you get up there with runners in a big time spot, you want to hit. This is a spot you get paid for. This is why we paid Dansby $175 million to go up in these spots and to execute to get runners across the plate, and it just hasn't been that way. So it's extremely frustrating. But again, if there is a bright spot to kind of point to, I'm looking at 3 guys today. That's Ben Brown, obviously, Mo Baller got on base 3 times,
Sure,
2 hits to add to his game, which is great for him. He was slumping a little bit. And then
not a
Pete,
little
I
bit.
mean,
He's
Pete
slumping.
was 0 for 4, nothing to show for it, but my goodness, he was scorching the ball to the right side today.
Yeah, no,
Just right at Horwitz.
he's starting to show signs. He's starting to show signs as well as Moises Ballesteros. Let's kind of look ahead. I know it's been a rough stretch, but let's look ahead. Tuesday, it's a 4-game set. You got Jordan Wicks making his first start of his 2026 season against Braxton Ashcraft, who's been really good this year for the Buccos. And then Wednesday, you got Jamison Tyone looking to bounce back against Bubba Chandler, who really hasn't been good this year. And then you got a tough matchup on Thursday with Colin Ray, who's been abysmal this month of May, going against Paul Skeens, one of the best pitchers in all of baseball. Sam, this is a series now where you're looking to get a split. For a 4-game series, the first game's crucial. You drop that one. Now you're looking to find a way to split. How can you do that?
Well, you got to jump on Bubba Chandler and Ashcraft before you get to Paul Skeens, because if you're down, 2-1 or 3-0 going into that Skeens matchup, you can almost book it, I'd say. This team has not handled high velocity well, and obviously Paul Skeens is one of the best high velo pitchers in the game right now. So, yeah, I mean, we got to get on. I know I just said we haven't handled high velocity well, but Bubba Chandler has struggled mightily. And I know he throws hard, but other than that, he has nothing to really show for it. He's 1-5, 1-6 on the year. So I'm kind of looking at Tuesday, Wednesday as we got to jump on them in big spots. We got to help our pitchers out because Thursday's not an advantage matchup at all with Ray and Ray and Skeens on the mound on Thursday. So yeah, I'm looking at Ashcraft and Bubba Chandler. We got to jump on them early.
Yeah, well, you could put a position player out there tomorrow to pitch. I think they find a way to get some outs for the Pirates. I know it's insane for me to say, but like tomorrow's a huge game. I mean, it is. You don't want to lose 10 in a row. Obviously, Jordan Wicks will be interesting to see him tomorrow. He's been hurt all year. Someone to keep an eye on. I know he's had a rough start to his big league career, but I mean, he was a first-round pick, so you have high expectations for him, and you should. I expect him. I think he's going to have a big-time start tomorrow. I think he's going to have a quality start tomorrow for the Cubs. Maybe 6 innings, one run. But
He's
got
had prior success in Pittsburgh before.
Yeah, so his first big league start. Remember his first big league start? He gave up a homer to, I believe, Key Brian Hayes. His first at bat. Is that right? I'm gonna fact check myself.
I'm not sure. You might have to fact check yourself. Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, I do like the matchup. He's a guy with. I don't want you might have to fact check on me in this, but he might be more effective against righties than he is against lefties on the bump, because he's got that runaway change that he loves to go to against righties. So I'm actually kind of liking this matchup against Pittsburgh tomorrow with Wicks on the bump, and his last rehab start before getting called up, I believe he went 5 scoreless. So he looked great in his rehab in the minors. So I'm looking at the Wicks to kind of surprise people. I kind of like that call by you.
Okay, so I want to end this Cubs talk with this. One positive thing is this is May. We're at Memorial Day, and I understand that this has been a rough stretch for Cubs fans, Cubs players, everyone. But I think this team can get out of it. I really do. I really believe that this team can find a way out of this. You're sitting at 29-25. I mean, just 3 weeks ago, they were at 17 games over. A lot of season left. There's a lot of season left to turn this thing around. Do they have the players to do it? I don't know. I honestly don't know that answer with all these injuries that have piled up for them. But again, very early in the season still very early. I'm not even look. I'm just telling you how many games back they are for the sake of the show. But I'm not looking at the standings. I think it's too early. I think it's too early to look at the standings because I think this team could turn it around. Offensively, they're not going to hit like this for the entire year. They're not going to score 2 runs or less for another 10 straight games. They're going to go out of it. They're going to get out of it. I truly believe that. The one thing that questions me is starting pitching. Can it hold up? I think Matthew Boyd coming back will be huge. Looks like he's kind of ramping up through a bullpen earlier this week. Should be back within the next week or two, hopefully. But I guess we'll find out. But I truly believe that this team will find a way out of it. Before you know it, we'll be back up to 15 games over 500 with this easier stretch coming up. So everyone, Cubs fans, please stay positive. I know it's a rough stretch. Believe me, I'm as frustrated as all of you guys listening. But I truly think that they're going to find a way out of this. Sam, last thoughts before we head to Kyler Gordon.
Yeah, this team has never needed Justin Steele more in his Cubs tenure.
100%.
That's kind of what I'm getting out of this. But yeah, let's head into some familiar Kyler Gordon soft tissue injury talk.
Yeah. Kyler Gordon, I'll kind of recap it. Article came out on Friday morning. Kyler Gordon, it is May, 25th, and Kyler Gordon is already dealing with a soft tissue injury. Not really sure whether that's the quad, whether that's re-aggravating his hamstring from last year. But Kyler Gordon has had injury questions pretty much his entire career, and having injury concerns this early on is really, really frustrating.
It is, and he's a player we've never really questioned when he's on the field because of how great his impact is when he's on the field. This defense is completely different. It's a completely different entity when we have Kyler Gordon on the field because of how much more you can do. He is a weapon in the nickel position. He can blitz out of it. He can go and guard your top slot receiver. He's just a great instinctual player. And for him to miss, it's always been said that the best availability or the best ability is availability. And for Kyler, that just hasn't been there. And that's been his biggest killer to us. As with his time in Chicago, is he can't stay on the field. So the soft tissue injuries are really piling up for him, and it's almost getting to the point where it might be time to move on. And I know that's a crazy thing to say before training camp, but Ben showed frustration with him last year during the season. So I think if this continues to go on, I don't think Ben's gonna stand up for this because he just hasn't been able to stay on the field. And like I said, when he's on the field, he gives his team such a positive impact, but we can't be giving $45-50 million to a guy who just simply can't stay healthy and can't be available for us as a team.
Right. And I had a long conversation with my friend this weekend, shout out Zach Hotmayer, about soft tissue injuries are really about yourself and not just like the luck of the draw. Like, if you have soft tissue injuries, that's on you. That means you're not rehabbing correctly. That means you're not training correctly. I don't know if a cut is in the future this year for Kyler. I feel like it'd be a huge loss for this defense if they were to cut him because of injuries. But, I mean, do you see a cut, in July? I don't know that
just
either.
because of how much we'd have to eat, like 13 to 15 million in dead cap. So no, I don't see a cut. But if this continues to ramp up and you know we get to training camp and he's still not able to get out on the field, I think could become, maybe a trade candidate, get at least try to get something back
But you
because
can't
he's
find
still
a
under
partner for him,
contract with us.
Sam. You can't find a partner for him.
But then you just want to cut him and eat 13 million in cap. That's
Maybe.
like he's such a valuable asset to this defense and what Dennis Allen wants to do. That I'd argue I'd rather trade him than try to get something of him than to just eat that dead cap and kind of be in cap casualty there.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously when he's on the field, he's a huge part of this defense, and it's just real. It was demoralizing to see that come out on Friday that he already has an injury, and you see him making vlogs on YouTube, all that stuff, and doesn't seem like he's focusing on the task at hand, and that's getting healthy and being ready for training camp in July. And it doesn't look like he's going to be ready for training camp. I could be wrong on that. He may as well be ready. But like you see a guy like Jalen also had a soft tissue injury, and he battled through and he came back. Kyler, on the other hand, like if you don't remember, Kyler for that Green Bay game in Lambeau, he was a late scratch. Do you remember that? He was a late scratch. I was at that ball game, and I didn't even know he was out until midway through the first quarter when I didn't see him on the field.
Yeah, that's a game we got absolutely fried by, that quick game of Green Bay's, and that's a game that we could have very much used him for.
100%.
But again, he was unavailable. We had to tap into our depth, and our depth really struggled to keep up with that. I should say mediocre Green Bay receiving core.
Right. But I don't really want to go into circles here, but it's
frustrating, yes, but I mean it's the same sentiment with the Cubs. We're in May, we have time until training camp.
100%.
You got to trust this. You got to trust Kyler. You got to trust our staff to get him right and get ready for training camp. Because if he is ready, I think the versatility of the combination of his versatility in the nickel, and then obviously our two new safeties, that set, it's going to be extremely fun to watch if all three, Thieneman, Kobe Bryant, and Kyler can be on the field together, because I think you can almost like interchange those three and really confuse some defenses with our pre-look snaps or with our pre-snap looks. But yeah, it is a bit alarming, but at the same time, we do have quite a little time before training camp. So I'm upset, yes, because he hasn't been able to stay healthy in the past. But I'm keeping an optimistic mindset in the hopes he'll be ready to go by training camp.
Yep. All right. Well, I think that'll wrap our show for Memorial Day. Hopefully, next episode we'll be talking about a Cubs win, maybe a Cubs series win, if you want to play and get greedy. But thank you guys so much for listening to Shy City Den. We'll be back Thursday recapping the Pirates series, and if any news breaks, we'll be recapping that as well. For Joey Glickman, that is Sam Van Cleve. Thank you for listening to the Shy City Den.